questions. We'll go Annie first.
Courtney Williams.
What about that? What you saying? What's the word?
Rotation. What are your thoughts on this maybe being her most complete game of the season? Would you say it?
I think this is a game where she scored and she did other things too. I don't know if I'm most complete. She played well. She's been playing well for us. Yeah.
What was the vibe in the locker room after this one?
Really good. It's good. It's good. It's always good though. Yeah. We got a good locker room. They like each other now. I really appreciate that.
Coach, it seemed like the ball movement today was just much more crisp. You guys were passing with a purpose. I mean, what did you make of it? And just what did you make of your team's performance and how do you build off it?
We worked on it a lot. It's something that we have to stay consistent at, and so we have to work on it constantly. Break down how did they play us and how they were forcing us into trouble spots, and so we tried to stay away from those or at least have counters for them. I thought we did a good job. You can see in spells where we would, lose a little concentration, but we quickly snapped back and was able to respond. I think we have a good team, man. We just it's going to be about discipline with us, and that's what they have to, really concentrate on. So and we moved it like we had so many hodges. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, even outside of like the physical element of it, I mean, mentally, it seems like you all were like you just said, bounce back when dry spells. I mean, how do you go about coaching that and even like talking about even outside of the game itself, like leading up to games, I should say?
Well, I think, part of it is like you have your game prep, and so you prep for the game, but you also have the stuff that you have to focus on for you. And that's, we try to put a lot of emphasis on that, like every day. And, we have to prepare for success. And so that's what we're trying to do. We did that really well this week. And the game against Connecticut was kind of like, it was a bad second half, whatever, or a bad, 25 minutes. But you see improvements, like I told you, it's about the how. And so we played that way, So it was really cool to see the improvements of us taking care of the ball and players being in the spots that they're supposed to be in, and players really, making an extra pass, sacrificing a good shot for a great shot, and making decisions faster. So that was pretty cool to see.
Steven?
Hey, Coach. You got a lot of production from your reserves today, and of course, it's been kind of sporadic because of you haven't had your anticipated reserves consistently this season. Can you speak to what you got from Morgan and Dana specifically today?
Morgan was really good. She improved a lot defensively. I saw her really locked in on that end of the floor, and I thought she's getting her rhythm offensively, where she's going to get her spots and be comfortable, but. She sacrificed some spots today just to be there for her teammates and some shots and stuff like that. And defensively, I thought she was really locked in. She had one mix-up early, and I kind of encouraged her to do better. And, she responded by not missing a beat after, so I that's something I really appreciated. And I think Dana's understanding more and more how important she is. Like her minutes are probably some of the most important minutes that we can have, and a lot of that extra weight that comes from it is, the 50 pounds that Rebecca weighs, and so that's 50 extra pounds. Don't tell Rebecca I said that. That's 50 extra pounds that Dana has to carry, and she understands that, and she's up for the challenge, and I think it's helping her grow leaps and bounds. And then whenever Rebecca gets back, it's going to be a crazy tandem to actually have, whether it be in the five or off in the rotation.
And then you kind of talked about the defense a little bit already. You guys seem like you took away a lot of the shots that they typically have, like in their general shot profile around the paint. What was it about your defense? Was it just the rotations or individual efforts?
No, Tanya did a really good job of scouting them, and she helped us a lot in how we approached them this time around. So we kind of learned from the mistakes that we made, and we just Tanya is Tanya Scout, and she really knocked that one out the park. So it really frustrated them, I think, and kudos to Tanya, because I think the players were ready and they just executed it to a T.
Julia.
James, going back to Morgan a little bit, she spoke a lot throughout this season so far about how when she first was trying to cut it in the dub, it was just kind of like the speed of the game, being able to balance both sides of the court. Those were like the two biggest areas of improvement for her.
She just got here.
I know. I know.
She's still trying to cut it.
I know. When you see, though, you've been scouting for her for a bit, watching her for a bit.
Yeah.
How have you seen that grow the most? Like, what area have you seen that grow the most in for her?
I coached against her in 2019 when I was in Russia. We were both in Russia. She was in Moscow, and so we got to play against them a few times. And she wasn't as offensively disciplined as she is now, so she had to grow up in that regard. She has to get back to the defensive player that she was at the beginning of the year, but you saw remnants of it tonight. This is the first time we saw like how Morgan defends since she's come back from her ankle injury, and she's a much more polished defender and much more polished and disciplined offensive player. So she's not going to do, when she was in 2019 when we played against her, she was just doing anything, and now she's going to go into her stuff and kind of play out of that. And now it's on us to help get her stronger and help her make decisions faster. And I think she's headed that way.
Coach, a lot has been made over the last month the last few years about free throw disparity, and you're able to get to the line early and fairly often a day. And then it was just about converting the makes. Like, what did you make of how you set the offense, or what Los Angeles was giving you that allowed you to get those opportunities?
I thought we were able to attack them in spots and catch them off balance sometimes. Our thing is we want to always be aggressive. So I think we have a good team to do that. And so they just have to really focus and not settle. I don't think we settled really at all today. And so that was the difference. When we don't settle, then we're a dangerous ball club. But when we do settle, then we kind of turn into everybody else who's settling,
Carly.
Coach, in the first quarter, LA got out to an early run. You called a timeout immediately and the energy changed. Do you remember what you said in that first quarter timeout to kind of have the energy shift to where we were seeing crisper passes and less turnovers?
Yeah, we just went over some of the rules that we weren't doing, that we talked about in the pregame. And so I just encouraged them, that's a good word, encouraged them to do what we said was the game plan and get back to it. They want to do the right thing. Sometimes they just get lost in the moment. But I think in a couple of previous games, maybe at LA, I think I trusted them early. And, even Courtney was like, yeah, you got to remind us. And I was like, I just told y'all 5 minutes ago. I was like, okay. So this time I called a timeout so I could remind them. And they responded well.
Speaking of Courtney, we've talked a lot about her IQ and how she's someone that's very communicative. But even today we were seeing kind of her as your coach on the floor. She was a lot more talkative today. Is that something that you've really encouraged her to do as the point guard position, or is that something that she's done naturally?
So no, I mean, she kind of does it. So first of all, Courtney loves to talk. All right, so let's get that out of the way. So now we channel that in a good way. We want you to talk. And so if Courtney's around, we know the rhythm vibe is not going to be quiet. So it's fine, and that's, I think, she's talking about the right things and trying to get her teammates in the right spots and trying to communicate with them. And so it engages them and makes them talk back. And so that's where you see the good chemistry build and everything come from, because there's nobody wondering,
what this person's doing or what they should be doing or that they didn't get this right, because Courtney is putting it all out there on Front Street. So she's been doing that for a while and having great conversations with the coaches at the same time. And it's a great form of leadership that every coach needs.
Just one quick follow-up. Is she as communicative on the bench as she is on the court?
Yeah, she talking. So I hear her over there. So yeah.
Any
Yeah.
wrap-ups? Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
What'd you just think of Courtney Williams' leadership, both on the court, off the court, what she just did all around today?
Yeah, I mean, she played great. Like, she was all over the place. She was hitting her shots, getting her spots. And that's what we need. Like, it's going to be somebody different every night. So she was ready to step up, and I'm proud of her.
What's up, y'all?
Courtney, I'll ask you this. You know, we told me last week, give you some grace.
Thank
That
you.
grace pay off with 21 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. What we think, what was just clicking for you today?
Well, my mama told me I need to shoot more. Mabrey too. So I just went out there, tried to be aggressive, and yeah, it got going tonight.
Any others for players? Well, Andy, then Julia.
Yeah, Courtney, you've talked a lot openly, honestly, about your development at the point guard position. What impressed you? What's impressed you most about yourself and the growth that you've exhibited through the start of the season in this new position?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always impressed with myself, you know, because I'm always growing. I'm always giving myself that grace to just be better and take constructive criticism from whoever. Honestly, if you're watching, if you're seeing it, I always want to know what people see and how I can grow. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, it looks different, but I think I'm getting a little bit more comfortable figuring out where my spots is at the point guard position, but also making sure I keep my teammates involved. So we're gonna get there.
Julia.
Courtney, just kind of building off of that, today, obviously shoot a little bit more. How do you find the balance in how much you are shooting versus looking to pass? And do you feel like today was reflective of where you want that balance to be, or does it have to kind of change every game?
Yeah, I think it's gonna change every game. Cause like if she get on the heater, we gotta get her the ball, right? If Kalia get on one, we gotta get them the ball. So I think it just depends. Every game is gonna look different. I think I just heard Mabrey say that. Like,
I agree.
yeah, lock in.
I am locked in.
But it's gonna look
Answer the question.
Right, put the phone down.
Talking to me. Like, mind your business.
But yeah, it's gonna look different for sure. I don't think every game is gonna be like, oh, I gotta go for 20, or that's what that consistency is gonna look like. But I think everybody just gotta be ready. Like, defenses, depending on who we play, gonna be different, right? So we gotta be prepared and be ready to read that and understand where our openings are. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
And then Marina, kind of building off of that, you know, Courtney talks about how any day, kind of anyone in that guard group can go on a heater, pull out 20 points. How does that versatility kind of affect the way that you and the entire guard unit approach games, knowing that you kind of have to test the waters and see who's gonna heat up that day?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just takes pressure off you. Like, you don't have to force yourself into shots and make something happen. Somebody's going to have an open shot, and we have such talented guard group that we just need to trust each other and move the ball around, and somebody's going to hit something.
Marina, a couple weeks back after that Fever game, you said that it was about just kind of keeping focused on the light as opposed to the dark. And then you finished by saying, you know, watch out when the Chicago sky turn up. This is the first game after a losing streak, but with the way that you played today, with that ball movement, with the sets that were really working, did it feel like you're about to turn up?
Yeah, I mean, we got a win going, and it doesn't always happen the way maybe you expected to or how you saw it in your mind. So we learned from the mistakes. We got in the win column again, but we still have a lot more work to do, and I don't think we're even close to where we'll be by the time the end of the season comes, the playoffs.
What's going on, Courtney?
What up with you?
What's up? So you obviously going against your former head coach. It seemed like you really had a feel for what the defense was giving y'all as like automatics when you coming off the screens and everything. Was it just feel, or was it kind of familiarity as well as feel that you kind of felt from Coach Miller's the principles and system he had against you today?
Well, they hedged the whole game, and they hedged everybody. So it wasn't like, oh, they throwing something at her, throwing something at me. They literally hedged everybody. So, I mean, no shade, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't something that I had to be like, oh, I remember that's what they do. It was like once we seen that they hedged every player, it's like, all right, we got to beat the hedge. So this is how we beat the hedge. And that was for everybody.
And then for Marina, so when you guys have your guard play, when all of your guards are clicking at once, it seems like the team takes on a different type of identity offensively. And Courtney, you can kind of chime in on this if you want to. What is it about when you guys are all clicking that just really takes it to like another level for you all?
I mean, I think it makes it tough for the defense to hone in on one guard. So if we're moving the ball and we're making plays, one, it's good for our recipient players to get the ball and score two in good positions. And then also just really hard to figure out who's going to make a play when everybody's on. It's tough. You have to play solid, straight up defense.
Last couple, Carly Bell.
Marina, how would you describe Courtney's communication style on and off the court?
No, let me be serious. Courtney just stays on you. Like she keeps talking. Like even if you want to kind of disengage, like she won't let you. She keeps staying on you, keeping everyone in it and exactly where they're supposed to be in a headspace. And I think it's really hard to do that because it kind of takes away from your mindset and like what you need to do. But Courtney stays like with what she needs to do, but also keeps other people on. So I sometimes appreciate it.
Courtney, we've heard you kind of describe this mentality of giving yourself grace as you navigate maybe a new role, but can you elaborate on how you've remained patient with yourself in this new position, how you've allowed yourself to not get discouraged, not think about, being utilized a different way, like taking on a role and navigating the challenges and again, allowing yourself to blossom?
I think experience, right? And I think also a testament to my vets when I came into the league, giving me grace and learning. And I think just understanding that the point guard position is the hardest position on the floor, right? Because like she said, I got to be able to not only keep my head, but make sure they keep their head. So I think doing that, I mean, if I'm not patient with myself, we all gonna be running around with our head cut off. So I think just understanding what my role is for this team and keeping that balance of giving myself grace, right? And understanding how to give my teammates grace as well and just keep everybody, like she said, in just that headspace of understanding like basketball is a game of runs. So even if it do get ugly for us, like it's okay. Like we can figure it out. So yeah, just and in life, right? Like you gotta give yourself grace. Like things get hard. So you gotta just understand, like, take a breath, breathe.
Sorry, one more. Anyone you've like tapped into like in getting advice from, or have you just like, been figuring this out yourself this season?
Oh man, I get advice from everybody. We literally had an event the other day at Six Flags and it was like Auntie, I don't even know what her name is, but she was just telling me, you need to stop hesitating. I'm like, all right, talk to me. Like, tell me, you know what I mean? Because I like to take from everybody because it's like, you might see something that this person don't see, or my mama might see something, my daddy might see something. So I think just staying open to all constructive criticism, because I think it's only going to help me. Now you can't take everything, but it's like, I can take a little from you. I can take a little from you, take a little from Twitter. Right.
No.
But I just try and soak it in and just learn from everybody. Right. Cause it's only going to help me be better.
Last question, we'll go to Lily in the back.
This is from Zachary Draves on Zoom. He says to Courtney, what are some of the ways that you all What are some of the ways that you all with strengthened team chemistry after this win? I don't know.
He probably wants to know, like, did we build chemistry and what's the strength of the team right now since we just won?
Okay. Well, then answer it, friend.
Oh, he said for Courtney.
It's the same thing.
I don't know. It's not.
All right. What was the question? Tell me what it is.
Like, did we build chemistry? Are we getting stronger as a team with this win instead of another loss?
Oh, I mean, yeah. Anytime you win, it's always a good feeling, and I think you can take from it. But again, you got to take from everything. So you can't get too high, you can't get too low. We can't be walking around here like, yeah, we don't want. But we got to be able to take the good from it and build on it. Right? We back in the wheel column. So shout out to us, man.
All right, thanks, players.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Y'all want to see my video?